Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer and this is Metatron speaking. Today's message is from a god who I have not channeled before for YouTube, and his name is Ganesha. So it started off with me asking Metatron who I should channel, and he gave me the name Ganesha. I had to Google them. I knew that they were like a Hindu god, but honestly, I thought it was a Hindu goddess because I literally don't know who this is. Found out it was a Hindu god, remover of obstacles, god of wisdom, luck, and new beginnings. So these are all things that I would like to have more of in my life, and I'm sure you would too. So this started off with me calling for Ganesha, and what was amusing is that in response to me calling for Ganesha, my shoulders went up and my face went up. And normally that is the physical response that I get. Oliver's here today and he's causing trouble, knocking things around. He looks so innocent on camera. He's kind of a terror, but he looks real cute on camera. He's very photogenic. Um, so normally when my face goes up and my shoulders go up, that is always Ra who is talking to me. But I could tell by the energy used, how the energy felt within my body as I did. This is literally Oliver clawing at things. Oliver, are you for reals right now? He saw my he saw my microphone cord and he just batted at it. I'm just gonna hold you like this. How long will this last? Hmm? Like this? I could tell by the energy that it was not raw. It was much more gentle. Not that raw is rough, but it was a kind of like a very light, gentle energy that did it. It wasn't kind of the directness that I get from raw. And so, oh, and it was like more casual energy is what I described it as. Casual and more casual and gentle than raw. And so he has me like looking up and I'm just like looking up. And it's like it gets uncomfortable with the neck after a while. So I was like, "Hey, can you come down? Come down. Can you come down so that we can talk and also so my neck will not be stuck upwards?" So he agreed. And then I asked to feel his energy. So Ganesha's overall energy feels feminine to me. It feels light, it feels clear. It's not like an overwhelming energy. Like Ra is more like, I am here. And you know he is here. Um, and it's not like Odin, Norse god Odin is kind of like Metatron. Well, they're the same soul. Both Metatron and Odin they can be in a room and they will stand back. And they'll just be quiet and they'll just watch. And if you need them, that's great. They'll do what you need, but otherwise they kind of they're never like, "Hey, hey, hey, talk to me," you know? That's other guides. So, Ganesha was in between those 2. Ganesha was not, like, in your face, and Ganesha was not like, "I'm totally disappearing into the background." Ganesha was like, "I'm here, but I'm chill. Just kinda lightly here." And it was cool. I saw a yellow light radiating from him, which was nice. Like, I felt gold light radiating from Horus and radiating from Ra. Um, Ganesha's was yellow, and it was less of feeling, more I could see it, although I felt it a little. I ask to feel Ganesha's dark energy because I'm nosy. I'm dealing with a guide that's both light and dark, and I want to know just how dark the darkness is, basically. So I asked to feel the dark energy, and it was clear. There was nothing concerning about the dark energy. It was just adding depth to their energy. Interestingly enough, their darkness felt masculine. Mm. Um, so this is the channeled message from Ganesha. Why do you worry so much about the physical world? This is not your true reality. This is an experience. What would you learn if there were no struggles? Struggling in an area gives an opportunity to bring awareness to that part of your life. Are you depressed? Bring awareness to what you need to have mental and spiritual health. Are you tired of not having enough money? Bring awareness to what it feels like for most of the world to meet their basic needs. Do you wish you had a romantic partner? Bring awareness to the freedom of not having one. There is higher wisdom available if you embrace the struggles that you have been assigned. This does not mean that the struggle will last your whole life, but it does mean that the struggle may last until higher wisdom is obtained. What would the point be to incarnate and live a life that did not pressure you to transform? We do not want you to return to the spiritual realm without progress made on your soul. If everything works the way you want it to, you would think that everything is great and you will remain unconscious in many ways. Suffering can create consciousness, just as love can create consciousness. These two work together to help bring you to a new perspective and a new appreciation of all things. Okay, and then next, Ganesha is still talking, but Ganesha is directing conversation at me. And I guess I won't even try to explain it. I'm just going to say what they said. So Ganesha says, Jennifer, you enjoy putting lotion on your face, hands, feet, and neck. You value that in this lifetime, and it brings you joy. But you suffered for many years and across many lifetimes in dry deserts where your skin was dry, chapped, and painfully cracked. The suffering of many lifetimes brings you gratitude each day for something considered mundane by many. This is wisdom that your soul will hold on to forever. You could not have reached this place of authentic joy without suffering first. Suffering made you aware that something like lotion is a luxury. Drinking water when you are thirsty is a luxury. To truly spend lifetimes focused on survival is what brings a more honest assessment of your current lifetime. You may feel like life is difficult or unfair, but are you taking an honest look at the many aspects of your life that you are taking for granted? Viewing your blessings will help you to see your life with a wider lens, from a higher perspective, and in a more balanced way. I'm going to pause just for a second. There is more of a message. So I've had, I don't know what it is, but I've had a lot of past lifetimes where I am traveling through a desert. This is like a repeating theme for some reason. Um, so I've seen lots of different lifetimes where I'm traveling through the desert. and it's brutal and it's obviously very dry and hot. And so I'm very aware in this lifetime of the joy of like being thirsty and then having a drink of water, and every time it's like, oh, this is so amazing. This is so, like, I have joy and appreciation every time I'm drinking water. And I also feel like I'm like the queen of everything when I put lotion on. I'm like, I put it on, I'm like, ooh, my skin is so happy. This is so nice. This is like, it's like, to me, I can just be putting on some regular like hand lotion, and to me, it's like a day at the spa. Like it's like over the top ridiculous. And so, um, Ganesha is calling out the only reason you have this level of appreciation and the only reason you're able to access this joy is because deeply ingrained in me are all the times I was thirsty and there was no water, or my skin was dry and cracked and there was nothing I could do about it. So this is kind of the point, is that um a lot of times we're like, man, life is so hard, life is so unfair, and we're kind of in a luxurious lifetime, believe it or not. Even though you might be struggling financially or with your relationships or um, with all kinds of things, struggling at work, whatever the case may be. If we really take a really truthful look at our lives, we're not going through the level of difficulty that someone who is struggling to survive is going through. So, most likely, when you are hungry, you have a way to get food and eat. Or when you are thirsty, you have a way to get water. Most of you probably have a roof over your head every night. You have a bed, like you know that there is somewhere safe where you are protected from the elements, where you can go to sleep every night. You have somewhere where you can bathe, like all these things that we're like, yeah, 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 we have. Everyone has that. No, they don't. No, they don't. A ton of the world does not have those things I just listed. So it's putting things in perspective, and also recognizing that in the areas that you are suffering, this is an area where you do not yet have enough awareness or enough consciousness. You haven't gained the wisdom from that scenario yet. And that is why that is a struggle that is present in your life. All right, let me continue with Ganesha. Ganesha says, time is limited in this lifetime. These experiences, whatever experiences you're struggling with, these experiences will not last forever. They are temporary, just like your body. Keeping awareness of your mortality will help you align with higher ways of thinking and behaving. How important are the things that irritate you now? How might you spend your time differently if you were aware that you have less time left today than yesterday? Are your behaviors aligned with how you want to treat others? If you are remembered for how you behaved today, what will you be remembered for? This is not meant to trigger critical thoughts of yourself. This is meant to bring an honest awareness of your actions to the forefront of your mind to see if they align with what you want. If you aren't happy with what you observe, you can make changes now. New beginnings are always waiting to be embarked upon. That is the end of the channeled message. I'm gonna see if I can get more. I'm gonna see if I can chat with Ganesha right now. So something interesting that happened, I posted this message on Medium, which is a website where people can, or it's for writers. You can post all these writings on there. And so I post on there and I posted this message and somebody responded back and asked me how Ganesha's energy felt because they had heard that Ganesha, no, they had heard that Yeshua or Jesus was an incarnation of Ganesha. And the funny thing is, Yeshua's energy crossed my mind when I interacted with Ganesha, so I know that there is some kind of connection there. But I just didn't write it down because I didn't want to confuse people because there's the truth of how energy feels, but logically, at some point, it stops making sense for all of us little human brains because, like, it makes sense to me that Metatron is the higher self for Ashtar and Yeshua and Buddha and I don't know, Merlin. Um, I think it gets more confusing when you're taking a god, which is all. Well, I guess it's yeah. They're like it's just like an archangel. Yeah, it is. Basically, every god or goddess is like selecting certain qualities from creator, from the one energy to manifest those qualities. Um, but it's complicated because Ganesha did feel like Yeshua. So ascended masters are the same as archangels, are the same as gods. Um, can you? Okay, I have a couple card decks next to me that are actually for something completely different, but I'm going to see if Ganesha wants to pull a few cards and we can like chat. No, 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 that one's hard. I don't like Ganesha. I don't like you. I think he is joking, but so this card deck, it's super beautiful, but I'll tell you what, it is some of the most difficult energy to read because I'm not like using these oracle card books and flipping to the answer. I'm like reading the card. And like for example, like peony. What? Like that's not a message. Like so the words on the cards are not helpful. You have to be able to look at these pretty pictures and pull energy out of it, which is really tough. I was like, do you really want this deck? And they're like, no. So you kind of are like Yeshua then, because you're joking around with me. She's got like I keep saying she, I'm sorry. He, yeah, you don't even care that I'm calling you she because you're both. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Um, it's very feminine energy, so it throws me off to use he when it's very clearly a preference on female energy from Ganesha. Um, do you, I mean, should you be considered a she? No, you do oh, okay, now you're busting out your masculine energy. Okay, do you want this deck? Okay, and this is going to be messages for everyone, right? All right. These are serious messages. Oh my God. I don't even know what I'm doing. The last thing I should be doing is trying to get messages from someone who's like joking with me, who I don't know that well, because I'm really bad when my guides joke with me. You want this one? Um, I'm like so serious and so like I'm all business when I'm doing work, right? I'm all business. And so when I'm channeling, I'm like, I want the message, I want to get this right. And my guides, when they play with me, I'm like, a lot of times I like don't get it, right? I'm too serious and I'm just not picking up on it. So it makes it more challenging. Okay, so this says, she who emerges, enlightenment, mindfulness, rise up. Okay, but this is for everybody, right? Ganesha is highlighting she who emerges. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's tying back into the message that we just had. So if you think of like a lotus flower grows in the mud and it emerges from the mud. And so the mud is like on a symbolic level, the lotus flower is enlightenment, which is why it's being referenced here. And the mud is difficulty and suffering and obstacles. And so the message that Ganesha is giving is that this is the point of your life. The point of your life is to be handed struggles and suffering and difficulty and to find a way to emerge from that and access the higher wisdom, which is enlightenment. Enlightenment is really like people make it way too complicated, right? Enlightenment is, why are you having me say this? I don't even know what enlightenment is. Um, you line up pretty good with me, don't you? Okay, enlightenment, to get lined back up again. We were lined up, and then my brain was like, wait, what am I saying? And then I freaked out and I disaligned from Ganesha, so now I got lined back up. Um, enlightenment is knowing and acting from a place of understanding that you are one with everything. It's acting and behaving from the place of everyone is you and you are everyone. And so it's like this intense love and this intense compassion for all living things because it is you. And so you feel that way about everything and you feel that way about yourself. And that is enlightenment. That is what Ganesha is saying. So I don't know what everyone else says enlightenment is, but I feel like the world makes it way more complicated than that. It's very basic when Ganesha just said it. Okay, can I put this card? You want more from this card. What else is there to have? Okay, Ganesha is saying that, okay, you're getting all involved. Okay, so the water or the see like the pond water that she's standing in. So the pond water, it's muddy, right? Muddy and dirty and stuff. And so that's representative of, we were saying like suffering and difficulty, but that's also um if you haven't risen up yet, if you're still under the water, you're in the murky water, you can't see clearly. So this is like the mind not seeing clearly is when you are submersed in your suffering and you believe this is all there is. You're looking around and there's muddy water. Everything's dirty. Everything's gross. And you're like, this is all there is. But this pond that you're in is shallow. You can stand up just like her and be out of the water, but you're crouching down in this muddy water, right? Because you believe that this is all there is. So you can stand up in order to gain a higher perspective, in order to gain clarity, so that you can see your situation more clearly. Your perspective being higher, like hers, does not change the fact. Look around her. Can you see? Let me see if I can do this. You see that tree in the background, and like, it's like kind of like dark and spooky woods. Like, I don't know. That's not the place that I would want to hang out. I'm just saying. I wouldn't want to walk through there alone. Um, so she's got the perspective now. She can clearly see this is the mud. I don't have to submerge myself in it. However, your circumstances don't change just because your awareness changes. The and this is the hard part for us, right? Because let's say we're I don't know. Can I do that? Okay, let's say we're struggling. Someone is struggling with depression. And so while they're crouched down and everything's unclear, it's like, I'm depressed. Everything's depressing. Like, this is horrible. And you're stuck in your thoughts, right? So if you can rise out of the murkiness, the murky thoughts, and you can get clearer thoughts and you can observe yourself and be like, okay, I have depression. It's about these things, but you can still help me, Ganesha. I'm trying to explain this, but you can see your situation more clearly because the soul, how am I going to explain this? Your higher perspective is your soul or your higher self. They can see the big situation very clearly. They can see that there's a purpose to everything, whereas the human, we have the choice, right? The human has the choice of whether we're consumed with what the mind is telling us, whether we're consumed with the depression, or whether we're tuning into higher energy. When we tune into higher energy, like when I tune into my guides or when you tune into your guides, it does not change. It does not change whatever circumstances have created that depression in the first place. It doesn't necessarily make the depression go away, right? The clarity, the higher perspective is needed to find the wisdom in the situation, which then might be able to alleviate that for us. It might not. A lot of times we think we're going to go, we're on this spiritual journey and we're going to have this higher wisdom and we're going to be like, okay, I can see that this is a lesson. I can see that I have this deficit going on and I can see that I don't love myself. And because I don't love myself, I keep putting myself in situations where other people don't love me either. And I can see that this has led me to a point of being in a depression. Like, let's say that's the scenario. So you can see the root cause and you're like, okay, I'm going to take steps towards loving myself more. And so that's the knowledge and the wisdom, right? It's not a quick fix. Don't feel like don't feel like you're doing something wrong or that you don't truly have the wisdom in the situation just because the situation persists. The situation persists because that's the only way we get learning. That's the only way that it really marks into us because if you spent a week being depressed and you figured out the answer and boom that solves it and the depression is gone, that's not going to leave the same remembrance marking on your soul as if you spent 5 years depressed, right? So the intensity and the duration and all this leaves different markings. I had to have a lot of lifetimes in the desert to appreciate water and lotion. It's a silly thing, right? But this is the example. Can I get another card? You really like this card. They only Ganesha only wants this card. There's only so many things we can talk about on this card. Something else? I do not know what else you want to talk about. You really have more you want to? Okay, I'm gonna show you guys the card again. So Ganesha was kind of drawing me towards, do you see right here the place where her dress meets the murky water is like lit up because she's enlightened. And so that helps bring more clarity into the murkiness because she's aware that there are bigger and better things at play, that the murky water is not the totality of our existence. The 3D world, basically, right? This is 3D. The 3D world is not the only reality. If you're crouched down and you're like submersed in it, yeah, that's your only reality is all this muddy water. But you can stand up. You can stand up as much as you want. You don't have to be consumed by the 3D-ness of it all. Can I have another card? Is this is there more to get from this card? Honestly though, I feel like Ganesha's messing with me. Ganesha, this is not the most interesting card that ever existed. All right, whatever else Ganesha wants, I feel like I gave it my all. You really do have something else. I'm gonna give it one more minute, see if I can tune into it. I don't hear anything from you. Are you saying stuff? Are you lined up with me properly? Okay, I don't think I'm gonna get anything else from this. I feel like I'm getting less aligned with Ganesha. Okay. Any more cards? Okay. I'm gonna wrap this up then, since whatever other message he has, it's not occurring. Oh, okay. I figured it out. I guess I finally heard. You have to bring mindfulness, and this is kind of repeating what Ganesha said earlier. You have to bring mindfulness into your moment to moment living in order to keep that higher perspective. If you're just going about your day on autopilot, autopilot for your mind is essentially the 3D pathway for your mind. And so you're going to have all of your programs in place. You're going to be like programmed to react a certain way to things and say certain things. And so you want to get out of that comfortable routine and bring mindfulness to it in order to choose a higher way of thinking. So you'll be going about your day, something will happen, and maybe it's like, oh, something happened, and you've taken it personally, and you feel triggered, and you feel mad, and you feel whatever. And you're gonna have to take a step back from your 3D situation and look at it mindfully and from a higher perspective to assess, is this really a big deal? Because Ganesha said, one of the things he said in that channeled message was something to the effect of, the things that are irritating you, are they really important? The things that are really setting you off, are those really, really that important? Like if you were gonna die in like 90 days, would the thing that you're mad about right now matter? And so if you take that as your measuring stick and you're like, huh, if I was gonna die in 90 days, it really doesn't matter if my spouse didn't do the laundry, or so and so got your order wrong, or like all these things, all these like little silly things that we start getting really serious about as humans. We have like little petty arguments with our friends, um, or we get uh, into a certain state of mind where we want things to be a certain way. And if they're not a certain way, then we're upset about it. And so it's looking at those things in our life and asking ourselves, if I was going to die in 90 days, would this matter to me? Because if we can take that awareness and bring that into our life every day, we would make different choices. And those choices would be more aligned with our soul and with much better outcomes for us and with a better quality of life and with better relationships. So, you hopefully some of this resonates with you enough that you can start incorporating it, but it takes work, right? It's like, oh, you're just like, okay, I remembered to do that this morning with my spouse, but then I forgot to do it with my coworkers in the afternoon. And then my kids did something later in the day. And then I remembered that I probably should be more aware about it. And so, like, it's a constant juggling act because there's a tendency towards autopilot and there's a tendency towards using your mind to make decisions because that's what we've always done, right? And so it's learning to bring awareness in and let that start mastering you. Because if you can master your emotions and you can master your impulses, now we're talking about enlightenment again. Okay, this is everything that I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the message, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.